views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hello everyone, welcome to Open BxRx Remote, brought to you from my living workspace, Charlie Executive Suite. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche every Friday. And here's what's coming up in today's show. Later days off, we'll learn about Herban Cura, an organization providing workshops and informative events for organic and transformative healing through nature. After that, we'll hear about Pepatián's collaborative upcoming event honoring the indigenous people, land, and waters of the Bronx. Then we'll find out about a free COVID-19 story workshop that will help dealing with this pandemic and quarantine through creative writing. Later on in the show, Bobby C brings us an up-to-date with the latest headlines in the world of sports. And lastly, this week's Open Artist Spotlight features Italian singer and songwriter Alessandro, who will perform his latest single for us. So sit back, y prepárate. All this and more is headed your way, because now we are officially open. To Open, I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche for the next hour, encouraging you to get social with us online. That is, tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BroxNet TV and like us on Facebook at Open BroxNet Television. And of course, while you're there, follow me on Twitter, FB, Instagram, Insta Stories, and LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. So although COVID-19 is still looming around, people have found a sense of rejuvenation from being outdoors, and communing with nature is a great outlet to heal mind, body, and soul. Our next guest is part of an organization that provides in-depth conversations and workshops of transformative healing through nature. Joining us to discuss more about holistic healing modalities with Herban Cura, we welcome founder, clinical herbalist, Antonia Estela Perez. Hi.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here with us, and thank you for choosing this magnificent path of healing. I mean, you look very young, and so because of that, I'm really enthusiastic because this is quite a taking, and the fact that you're doing everything directly from nature, I'm very interested in learning about how you even found this organization.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm 27 years old. This organization is an extension of my family, essentially, and my grandmother, my great-grandmother, both on my mom's side and my dad's side, from Chile, who have always used herbs and plants for their medicine, and also seeing food as medicine. So since I was young, I've been playing around with plants, and I grew up in New York City. I grew up in Washington Heights, along the Hudson River, the Mohican-Tuck River. And so as part of connecting to plants was also part of me understanding my identity on this land as someone being first generation. So Herban Cura started as an extension of me wanting to share what I knew about plants and plant medicine to my community, especially within an urban context, because I think when we know and understand the medicinal properties of plants, it helps us be more autonomous with our own health and feel a greater sense of belonging to the land that we're co-inhabiting with.
That's a lovely, lovely way to describe everything that you're doing, because now more than ever, we are pretty much being reminded to really be one with nature and understand that we are coexisting, right? And so the fact that you're educating people in the process and you happen to be standing there in front of products that you've developed with your own hands is really, really admirable for someone your age. So I wish we had all the time in the world to go over everything. However, I do want to just tap into some of the immediate products that are in your space that we can share with our viewers in and their healing modalities, right? And what medicinal purposes they're used for.
Absolutely. So everything that's here is our plants that are grown in my parents' garden or friends and families' gardens and farms. So they're different blends. This right here is a tincture, which is essentially a way of extracting the medicinal properties of plants into alcohol. So this is calendula here, and this is going to be for digestion, for lifting up people's moods. And then this one over here is an elixir. And an elixir is a combination of honey and alcohol. And it has roses, chamomile, lavender, echinacea. And this is both for immune system and heart opening. And in this jar is an oil of St. John's wort, which is an oil that's very helpful for body aches. And we can all use that in the city. And over here, these are double extraction of mushrooms, reishi and turkey tail. Again, also supportive for our immune system and fighting off infections and viruses and bacteria. So that's a big part of what we do. And we also offer knowledge shares to teach folks how to make this themselves. So before COVID, we were doing most of our knowledge shares in person, outside, along the river, community gardens, parks. But now we're doing all of our classes virtually. So some of those are actually coming up on Saturday. My mom's teaching a class on making preserves and jam and learning how to preserve the summer sweetness into the winter months.
So yes, especially now, right, as we brace ourselves for another like testing winter, we'll call it, right? And so these properties that you just shared with us, are they primarily for preventative or for healing?
Mm-hmm. So I would say more for preventative. With herbal medicine, it's not about taking 15 drops once and your problem is over and you're not experiencing any pain or discomfort anymore. But more so for immunity, let's say it's strengthening our immunity so that when we are in confrontation with some sort of bacteria or virus, our body has the capacity to put all of its mechanisms at work, right? But say you're bloated or you're full of gas and you take some fennel and cardamom and coriander, you will probably experience a very immediate sense of relief. So this can do both, but it also depends at what point in one's sickness they're at, or
ailment, right? So basically the idea is that you're arming yourself, right? It's like a sense of armor so that you're able to be prepared to defeat whatever it is that is trying to invade your body, because in essence, that's what it is, right?
Exactly. So all of these plants are allies, and plants have been supportive to humans since the beginning of time. So we have very intimate relationship with these plants, and that's a whole nother conversation. But I really view plants as very important players in the resilience of people, especially people of color.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for saying that. It's so important that we share this. And I love the fact that you also gear a lot of your knowledge towards urban environment, right? Because we're talking about plants, and when you're living in an urban environment, you move at such a pace that you kind of overlook certain things that are right there in your path. And I love that you shared that a lot of your gatherings in the past have been at community gardens. And while I know you're in Pennsylvania, right, right now on land. How are you communing with your community, right, to keep moving this forward so that there's this knowledge share continuously occurring?
So as I mentioned, we're doing it mostly online, and that's our main platform for sharing these knowledge shares, both online and through our email listserv.
What kind of generation are we looking at there? Like, is it intergenerational?
It's pretty intergenerational. So we'll get some folks from 16 to 60s, but definitely within like the 20s, 40s range, I would say is are the folks that are most present at our knowledge shares, but we've definitely had a range of folks attending.
So if you had to share any advice in this present moment and where we are right now amid a pandemic that they haven't been able to find a vaccine, and knowing that while we were able to flatten that curve, that there's this possibility that it may surge again come the flu season, what would you say?
I would say, again, food is medicine. My grandma was a big proponent of onions and garlic, and so many antiviral herbs are probably in your kitchen cabinets, like oregano and thyme and cinnamon and cloves, for example. And so even if we don't feel comfortable making a tea, incorporating different spices into our foods so that we are eating these herbs that help to fortify our bodies, but definitely getting enough rest. I think during this time, a lot of people have been spending more time on the computer or on their phones, but rest and sleep is so important for our well-being and our health, and wearing a mask also. But I would say definitely doing as much preventative work as possible to prepare for the winter season.
That's it. It's all about preparation, right? Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Now, where can people get your products?
Yes, so folks can look on our website, herbancura.org, and Herban is spelled HERBANCURA.
Beautiful.
I was just going to say there, folks can see the different oils, body butters, and tinctures that we offer, as well as the knowledge shares.
Well, thank you for sharing your knowledge with us today, Antonia. Beautiful. Well done, Antonia Estela Perez. Once again, you guys, for more on Herban Cura and their products, you can visit herbancura.org. All right, we have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll hear how the Bronx is honoring its indigenous history. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. The Bronx is filled with rich Native American cultural history, and the organization Pepatián has partnered up with the Bronx River Alliance, New York City Parks, and Bronx-based artist Caridad de la Luz, La Bruja, to honor and celebrate the indigenous people, land, and waters of the Bronx. Joining us to tell us more about an upcoming event in the fall to commemorate the Siwanoy Nation in Classic Point Park, we welcome Pepatián Director Jane Gabriels and spoken word artist and activist Caridad de la Luz, La Bruja. Hello, ladies, and welcome.
Hi.
Happy August.
Yes, we're here.
Yes,
so
we have.
You, Rhina.
Well, blessings to you, ladies. I see everybody's looking fabulous, and we're all remaining healthy and safe.
Yes, we are. We're still here, and we're very grateful. And this is an amazing opportunity to get back to the land, get back to nature, and to really learn Bronx's history, which I'm, born and raised and still live here in the Soundview section of the Bronx, and I'm still learning and want to share the things that I've been learning with
And
Jane.
with Jane Gabriels of Pepatián. Thank you for being here with us. A la Canada. How's Canada treating you?
All good, all good. But once you get into the Bronx, you never quite leave.
Yeah, I love how you always incorporate it. So let's share with everyone a little background on Pepatián as well as your role.
Yeah, sure. Pepatián was founded in 1983 by artists Marian Soto, Pepón Osorio, and Patty Bradshaw. They did incredible work. They're all award-winning artists. And I was hired in '99 to help them with the first festival they were doing at Hostos. And I've just been working there ever since because of projects like this. How can I leave? There's always something new to learn. And I completed a doctorate writing about the Bronx because I wanted to continue to contribute and also to learn more and to share what I was learning in different ways. And then I've also been inviting more of the artists to be project leads or consultants or co-directors or just get way more involved with the direction of the organization. Like I'm the director, but I'm working with others to create really fun and really significant projects that are really trying to move some ideas forward through the Bronx, about the Bronx, and, elevate.
Oh, lovely. So perhaps we should be referencing you now as Dr. Perdóname. Oh gosh, it's so lovely to see both ladies.
She's a doctor. I'm a doctor.
I love it. Let's talk a little bit why the direction of Native American history.
Who wants to take that?
Can you hear me? Well, either of you can answer. I just, Pepatián has basically shifted and pivoted its themes according to, I guess, scenarios that are occurring within our current climate. And so as you opened in saying, Kari, that this is a time for us to get back to nature and our roots and our ancestry, right? And so from what I understand, this project actually has been in development for the past 3 years. And I understand that you also, Kari, got a grant to go and research further. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay, great. I won the Jerome Hill Artist Fellowship. And with some of those funds, I traveled to visit Jane in Vancouver, and we went up through British Columbia all the way to an indigenous hub of all indigenous nations. The Haida people, Haida Gwaii. So we went to Haida Gwaii and learned how they honor the land, their traditions. We saw their sacred lands and all of this. And I've lived here in Soundview my entire life. We're doing all of this. This was last July, to return here to the Bronx, Soundview, and learn that I've been living on what was once a Siwanoy village for thousands and thousands of years, up until the 1600s. In the 1900s, it was actually a village and a sacred burial site where yearly different nations would come to visit and honor their ancestors. And we had started doing this work about 2 years ago. So we're going into our third indigenous gathering, but only found out last year that this was happening in this exact location. So it's pretty mystical. It's in alignment with, what it is we were in search for. It kind of, if you ever read the book, The Alchemist, it kind of felt like The Alchemist.
Nice. That's my favorite book. That's one of my favorite
books. I love that book. Oh, I felt that way. It's like I had to leave only to return to find out that I was on it the whole time.
Nice.
So it was called Snackapins, and I don't know that that's exactly how it was pronounced, but that's how it was written, Snackapins. And if you Google Snackapins, you'll find plenty of information. I even found photographs of what was in those the archaeological findings and the burial sites and how they were buried, and that there were 70 wigwams. It was huge. It was a massive village right here on Soundview, Leland, and Lacombe, right? So that's nice. Where the village stood. But on Classen Point is where they had their summer village, where they lived during the, the warmer months to fish, right, and all of those things. And so we want to honor this culture, this tribe, this
Yeah.
nation.
Right.
This history, this Bronx
Right.
history that is absolutely, it's, and now that the world
It's like
is,
rediscovering, actually, right? It's kind of like you're just saying. It's kind of like you didn't even realize that you've been living on this like sacred land per se, and so it's lovely that you've been able to design and create from it, because it's almost like a recreation of something that already exists, right? And now you're actually sharing it with the next generation, with the hopes that they are going to inquire further and look into their ancestry deeper. And so I understand that you're also going to have an event in the fall, and you're going to commemorate and start marking this land. So Jane, do you want to share the details of what kind of event
sure.
this is looking like?
Yeah, sure. It was like, we were discovering all this like really beautiful information, and just learning the things that we weren't taught, and just real like that's kind of significant. And it's like, oh, what can we do? So it's like, well, here's a simple gesture. And we wrote to the New York City parks, and we're going to have a little plaque on a bench. We had to pick which bench. We were like, let's pick that one because it's by itself and make it like a meditative bench. So there'll be a plaque. The engraver is working on it this week, they told me, and it'll be on the bench at some point in the fall. And it's a collaboration between Pepatián with Caridad and the Bronx River Alliance. And with New York City Parks, we've got art, organization, and individual artists, and we've got land and water all collaborating to create this bench, and then the plaque on the bench. And then just to enjoy that moment, we want to have a public something, probably with Caridad and with also another artist we've been collaborating with quite a lot, Cynthia Paniagua, to have them do something. And maybe Roderick Bell might show up from Bronx River Alliance with the canoes, like, we don't know.
yeah.
Oh, that's so lovely and so symbolic, right? A bench, something to sit on that you can overlook and just be in the space.
Yeah,
That's
and I feel like
Remember, reimagine what was once there by sitting there. So it's absolutely meditative and, to connect.
yeah. And
Awesome.
I feel like in these days, it's fun to have something that's like celebratory, it's honoring, but it's also celebrating, and, it's something nice to have in the future.
Yeah, and so moving forward, right, because this was something that was supposed to have occurred, and based on our circumstances, it's been delayed, but it's still going to happen, and it's a really lovely time for it to happen, because as we opened, we can close with the importance of communing with nature right now. That's what's happening in our reality.
Really
Right.
true.
And considering American history, this is real American history. This is history of the land, before colonization. And
Yes.
now, decolonization is something that is being embraced. And this is just in alignment with really understanding what that means. And
Yeah.
our Native American brothers and sisters have suffered so much, and even again during this pandemic. So it's really important that we celebrate them.
Absolutely. It's important that we get back to our roots, and it's another form of artistically, in a loving manner, of breaking the chain of systemic racism. Thank you both for being here with us, ladies. Woo, great work. Bravo. All right. And you guys, once again, to be a contribution with commemorating the Siwanoy Indigenous history of the Bronx, please visit pepatián.org. We do have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll talk about a free COVID-19 writers workshop. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. So the COVID-19 pandemic has shifted many of our lives, and for some, it's been a time to really think about their future and evaluate what matters most in life. So our next guest has created a free COVID-19 story workshop to help process during these times. And joining us to tell us more, we welcome author, editor, and consultant, Charlie Vázquez. Hi, Charlie.
Hey, how are you, Rhina?
I'm okay, you know, as okay can get, right, during these times. I think what you've created is perfect and right on time, because here's the thing. Although I introduced the initiative, what we know you as, or what I know you as, is, you know, the Bronx Writers Club, right? And you've moved on from that, and you're doing a lot of consulting work, and rather we're all kind of trying to figure out where we go from here, because we're being forced to redesign and reevaluate. And the fact that you're offering these facilitated writing sessions to process is ideal. So let's talk a little bit about your process into choosing to even facilitate. Let's start there.
Well, the idea came from, you know, had I been actively doing in-person workshops, which I don't do as much anymore, it would be something that I would have wanted to convene people to discuss, you know. And I think that these long, unprecedented spans of isolation and limited social interaction, you know, we had to sort of change the way we live overnight. And, you know, in a city as complex as New York, it was terrifying. You know, I'm not easily spooked, but it was absolutely terrifying. And I know that when I started reconnecting with people on the phone and you know, going back to the old ways of connecting, people had really poignant stories of loss, of transformation. And I started thinking, wow, this period is we're going to see a boom of literature, because I know all my writer friends are like in the trenches working on stuff. So I think that there's a lot of, as you said, a lot of recalibrating about redefining what means something to us in life versus the distractions. And I think that people really need the time to unload a lot of these emotions that have been building up during this period.
And so I understand that the workshop is my favorite word, free.
Mm-hmm.
It's free, and but it's also a 3 hours commitment, right?
2 hours.
It's 2 hours, excuse me, 2 hours commitment. And so are you looking to invite serious writers, or are you looking to enroll people into considering pouring out their feelings into writing? Like, what exactly does this workshop look like?
This workshop will be generative. So there won't be this time around. I'm planning follow-up sessions where there'll be time for people to read and to exchange it, because of Zoom and the limitations of the platform, and I'm still learning it, admittedly. This will be generative. So there'll be writing prompts. It's all about getting the work on the page, getting it out of your mind and out of your heart onto the page, so that in follow-up sessions we can go back and revise and then start to read stuff to one another.
And so it's a creative writing session. Is it stylized? Does it matter?
No, it'll be story focused. So it's funny you should ask that, because I'm known for a lot of the fiction and memoir work that I did with the Bronx Writers Center. So this time around, I'm not dictating. This is about what you bring, the story you want to write about, and we're going to do that together. And if it winds up becoming a fiction piece or a stage monologue or whatever you envision it to be in the end, that is up to the individual creator.
Do you foresee it as serving as a therapeutic session? Because that's the first thing that kind of comes to mind. I think we have arrived to this place where obviously there's a mental wellness challenge going on right now during this particular time period that we're still enduring, right? And through that challenge, in social distancing and dealing in this form, there's a disconnect. And so in putting it on paper, not everyone is disciplined to put it on paper, and I know it can serve as therapy. So I'm just wondering if in your session, you're going to be able to guide people who may not necessarily understand the healing aspect of writing?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a huge vehicle for self-inquiry and self-discovery. And I think that when we begin to commit the story to the page, which will be mandatory in this case, but we won't have time to talk about the stories necessarily this time around. With as many participants as I'm getting already, everybody won't have time. But as far as the discipline, that's what these workshops are for. You know, if you feel you don't have the discipline to commit it to the page, well, this is the time where you kind of have to. And that's the way it works. We write as a group, okay? And we're here to write. We're not going to be talking about a whole lot of stuff, but I imagine in the future there'll be time for that.
Right. I get it. So in other words, when you say you write as a group, everybody's going to come together, right? I've attended your sessions, so I know what it feels like to be in a physical space. Yeah. I'm just curious how it's going to work virtually, right? And so what you're saying is that it's pretty much the same thing. Like there's going to be that block of time where really you're going to go into an internal place, but you're going to be in the presence of other people virtually.
Who are doing the same thing with their story and their experience. And then I think I'll sort of take the temperature at the end of the session and see if people are interested in attending future sessions for this purpose. And then I'll sort of schedule them with the paid workshops that I'm putting together now that focus more on fiction and memoir, which is what I typically do.
I know you said you already have a lot of seats filled. How many availabilities do you have? How much availability do you have?
How much availability? The last time I looked, there was about 40 seats. I mean,
available?
I looked yesterday, so I haven't checked, I haven't gone to Eventbrite, but people responded right away.
Right, so you're capping at what? How many?
I can accommodate up to 100 people. So,
right, and so you only have 40 seats left.
Something like that.
Which means you have a nice.
Yep.
Yeah, you've already received a quite overwhelming response, which in essence means it's needed.
Yeah, I agree. I anticipated that. And I know for me, like I recently did the Mark Matusek Writing to Awaken writing program, which, forces you to sort of go back into your life and the good, the bad, the ugly. You kind of have to revisit all aspects of the human experience. And I really came out of it looking at creative writing very differently, coupled with the coronavirus and the shutdown. So there's been a lot of transformation for me, and that's what my work is. I'm constantly doing professional and personal development as a writer and as an artist, as a person. And then I take a lot of what I learn and sort of share it with my public so that it can help them however it does, if it can.
That's lovely. That's lovely for you to pass it on in that way. So what should people come prepared with? Paper, a self-identified book for this particular session, pencils, just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I mean, probably share with our pen and paper is probably easiest if because if you have a Microsoft Word up, you may not see me and whoever else is on there. So, that's okay. If you want to use Microsoft Word and you're not actually watching our image, our video image, that's up to each user. So for those who want to use Microsoft Word, you may split the screen. You may just have the Word document up. For others, they may want to do what I'm doing now, which is I'm on the screen, I've got my notebook here, and I can do both at the same time. And there's something about writing by hand, since most of us first learn how to write by hand, that feels a little more genuine than working on the computer, as much as I love it.
Lovely. And so once again, this is all taking place on August 29th, and it does require registration though, right?
Yeah, people can go to my website, Charlie Vázquez, that's Vázquez, V-A-Z-Q-U-E-Z, charlievázquez.com. If you go to, there's a section that's called Work With Me. It's all about my work. There's a link there where people can register, or you can go to my Facebook page. I think I tweeted it, and it's on my social media platforms as well. Or you can go to Eventbrite and type in COVID stories, Charlie Vázquez, and the event registration should come up.
Awesome.
No.
Thank you. Thank you for being here with us. And thank you for paying it forward. I love that about you, Charlie. I love that you take everything that you've taken on, you always extend it to everyone else. And I know for a fact that right now, more than ever, people need to really sort out what's going on with them internally. And this is a lovely way to just release and let it go.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate, and I've had a lot of help in my life. So it feels like the right thing to do.
Bravo. Looking forward to hearing more. Thanks for being with us, Charlie. All right, you guys. Once again, the free COVID-19 story workshop is taking place August 29th from 3 to 5 p.m. And you can sign up at the workshop by visiting Eventbrite and typing in COVID-19 or COVID stories with Charlie Vázquez. All right, don't go anywhere. Bobby C's weekly sports roundup is coming up next.
We built a media network for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at bronxnet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
BronxNet.
What better way to lead off our look at sports than taking some hacks with the Bronx Bombers? Been some week for the Pinstripers, and it started with some stellar play against their heated rivals, although lately there's not much of a rivalry when it comes to the Boston Red Sox. Monday, the Yankees laid wood to the Red Sox again, beat them 6-2, the 10th straight time they've beaten them dating back to last year. Before the virus-shortened season ends, they will get 3 more ball games at Fenway Park, at which point they can tie and surpass their all-time record against their American League East nemesis, 12 set in 1936 and then tied in 1952-53. While that's impressive, what might be more impressive is the way the Yankees are getting things done these days. The club keeps producing good results even as their biggest names continue to vanish. This past week, DJ LeMahieu was added to an injured list that already includes Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. Enter Mike Ford, who had a home run and 3 RBIs in one of the games against the Sox. His performance came on the heels of a 5 RBI showing by Clint Frazier and a 4 RBI game from Mike Tauchman, sensing a theme here. Next man up all over again. Here's Ford on his recent showing.
I just think we have a ton of depth. We have a lot of guys that could, play elsewhere, right now and help teams win. And it's just nice when us fill-in guys can come up and have some success. I think that a lot of young players put a little bit too much stress on themselves at times with those opportunities. So, that's kind of what I've been doing lately, just kind of pressing, getting out of myself. And, today was just kind of a have fun day. And it's not really about the playing time. It's more just kind of controlling your emotions when you do get that 2-week stint where you can try to prove what you can do.
Frazier's time with the Yanks has been filled with ups and downs, prompting him to wonder if this latest recall to the big leagues would offer a chance to contribute. The way he's swinging the bat, the Yankees can envision taking him out of the lineup. Frazier tied his career high with 5 RBIs, notching a double, a 3-run homer, a 2-run single, and a diving catch in right field as the club reached the 1/3 mark of the regular season. We caught up with Red Thunder.
I guess just, continuing to try to keep a good head on my shoulders while I was down at the alternate side and not take for granted the reps that I was given there, and just overall, not pouting, because I was preparing to play for a team, whoever that was, whatever my situation was, it came about, and I took it serious down there, and there's a lot of talent down there that keeps you ready. So, it's not the big leagues down there, but it's pretty close. So I would, give all the credit to those guys.
Manager Aaron Boone is pleased with his first place team.
I think we did a lot of things well, certainly in this series, but going back since we've come home, we've gotten a lot of contributions up and down the lineup from different guys again tonight, and some really good pitching performances.
The Yankees and the New York Islanders are the best teams in the Big Apple right now. The NHL postseason has produced its share of unexpected results, but one of the more overlooked surprises might be the early domination from the Isles. Head coach Barry Trotz and company have looked awfully sharp against the Washington Capitals in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. The same team Trotz helped win the Stanley Cup just 2 years ago.
You knew that the team on the other side was going to come hard, and they're loaded. They got lots of weapons. They can do a lot of different things. So we just stayed with it, and we got the really timely saves by Varley, especially in the overtime. But so it'd be you see it all the time where you get that timely save on Vrana. You made 2 saves on Vrana. We come back and score within half a minute or so, and that's hockey sometimes. So, but we know we've got another level in our game, which is really good to know.
We shift gears literally to race week. The Indy 500 is this weekend, and what a story it's shaping up to be. Marco Andretti backed up his blazing speed in Indy 500 qualifying, knocking off Scott Dixon to win the pole position at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's the first time an Andretti driver has been on the pole in 33 years at the Brickyard, when Marco's legendary grandfather, Mario, a new friend here to BronxNet, qualified first in 1987. Dixon is second, the 5th front row start of his Indy 500 career, followed by a career-best Indy starting spot for 2017 winner Takuma Sato. We'll save the best for last. Here's Dixon and Sato on their quest to win multiple 500s.
I hope it's us winning the Indy 500. That's all we're thinking about. So, I don't know. I'm not even thinking about who I'd like to win the race if I don't. It's honestly all just thinking about us trying to win the race and be best prepared. I'd love to see, Chip add to his collection. As we've seen, the Penske group have been a little bit greedy in the past few years. So we would definitely like to set that straight. But it's going to be a tough race. That group has been very strong, and there's definitely a lot of them, that have been very competitive. So, we'll just keep our head down and keep working on our program, and hopefully it's going to be strong enough.
Well, it's a great run. Needless to say, team and Honda did a tremendous job. And my number 30 Panasonic People Ready Honda car worked really well. But that's because we tried to third attempt yesterday for the qualify with a very hot condition that I wanted to simulate. It's all about preparation. That is why I really strongly wanted to do the practice this morning, as well as yesterday on my third attempt, which was in a late afternoon, which is a lot hot condition. Like repeatedly said, I think I wanted to see the conditions to optimize the car for that.
Meantime, Marco turned a 4-lap average at 231.068 miles per hour in his number 98. It's his 6th career pole position and first since 2018. He's still looking for his first Indy 500 victory. His best start at Indy was 3rd in 2013.
This place means so much to us as a family, and we've just been through so many ups and downs at this place. Obviously, my cousin John's riding with me, and my grandfather from home. So we know that the family's pulling for us, and we live and breathe this sport and this race in particular. So I think, coming off of how bad last year was for me in the race, it made this so much better. And that's what this place is all about. It's about highs and lows, and it brings that out of you.
Those are the headlines. We hit the C-list for my Indy 500 pick. You all know that I've preached victories for my three favorite drivers most often when we start talking Indy 500s. I usually expect Alexander Rossi or Fernando Alonso to be up front. Rossi has one win and came very close last year. Fernando is chasing history with the Triple Crown of Motorsport, but looked sharp in his opening 500 before mechanical problems, and then last year didn't even make the cut to run in the race. For the 100th running, I had Marco Andretti winning it all, but the rookie Rossi emerged with a stunning victory, as most often only Indy could do. The Bricks have a way of deciding history. Sometimes all-time greats never win the 500. Racers like Michael Andretti, a champion who came close but never tasted the milk in victory lane. His son Marco is an enigma, but perhaps we are seeing a renaissance. Marco came within a few feet of winning Indy as a rookie in 2006 and then finished third three times, 2008, 10, and 14, with a fourth-place finish in 2013, and has led 141 laps. Marco hasn't led a lap in the past 5 races, but something about this year seems very different. The 33-year-old outdueled Dixon did it under the kind of pressure that only the most famous speedway could bring. He couldn't afford one hiccup in the last lap. The namesake brought it home flawlessly to beat Dixon by 17/10 of a second. I'll be rooting for Marco come Sunday. If he can't win it from pole like Dixon did in 2008, I sure hope Rossi can earn his second 500, or Alonso could do the unthinkable and become only the second man to win Le Mans, Monaco, and Indy. As great as that would be, there's just something about hearing that Andretti name in victory lane again. After all, it is synonymous with speed. Start your engines. Enjoy the greatest spectacle in racing. That's your sports show alert reminder. Tune in Monday morning as we sit down with the author of the latest Mickey Mantle book. This one is a goodie. It tells the story of his days growing up in Oklahoma. I'm Bobby C. Keep it locked. More Open back after this.
Welcome back. Our last guest is a singer and songwriter who's always had a passion for music since a young age. He's participated in numerous TV shows in Italy, and he broke Billboard Dance Club charts 3 times and continues to put out new music. And well, he's here now to tell us about his new 3rd single, SML. Please welcome via Italy, Alessandro. Hola, Alessandro.
Hi, Rhina. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me at Open. I'm really excited to be here with you today. So yeah, I was born and raised in Italy, and I've been living in New York City for a year and a half now.
A year and a half. Oh my goodness. A year and a half you've been here permanently. I should have actually greeted you by saying ciao, right? It's
ciao. Yeah, it's not hola, but I dig Spanish too. Yeah. I like languages a lot. And
yeah, you were saying.
I was saying my 3rd single is finally out. Actually, came out July the 31st. It's called SML, and it followed 2 singles that I released last year. Give Me Your Permission and Just My Type. All of these can be found on all digital platforms. You know,
what does SML stand for?
SML stands for Show Me Love.
Show Me Love. But yet the title is SML because we live in the world of acronyms now.
Absolutely. You got to make it short, make it, quick.
Right. Especially for social media, right? And to
Absolutely.
Plug in that Generation Z, or is it Generation X?
You tell me, Rhina. You seem much younger than I am.
Oh, X&Z. So, we opened up this conversation talking about your relocation to Nueva York, and it's been for a year and a half now, and your origins from Italy, which I assume that your family's in Italy. So how has this affected you or impacted you and your family, you being here and them being in Italy?
So there's a funny, not really funny, none of this is funny, but there's an interesting story about me and my parents. So they actually visited me in the real last bit of freedom that we had through, European Union and America. You must know that now there's a ban. You can't travel in and out for holidays or anything. So they came in February and they stayed like 2 weeks with me. When in Italy, the virus was starting to break out. And here still, it wasn't really a thing yet. So basically, when they got back, they got stuck. Like they got back and they couldn't go out of the country anymore. And they were telling me about the nasty, very bad things that were going on. It was a tragedy.
When you
every
say
day.
they got stuck in New York, or they got
No. Stuck in the sense that they couldn't go out of a house.
I see.
Except if they were essential worker or anything. And in
Right.
New York, I was still doing everything as I was before. And
Right.
then it only took like a month, not even a full month, for things to start really going bad in here as well. And slowly things were getting better there. And here we were desperate. Like we would see the worst of maybe the worst city in the US for the outbreak of the virus.
Right.
And so it was kind of weird to see the thing going on before in Italy and after the US. So it was the opposite on everything, but this was not. This came over from the east part of the world.
I know, but we're talking, we're right now we're talking, and even though we're communicating via Zoom and we're in New York, because I'm in New York as well, they're over there in Italy and they're going through what they're going through at a different time period, which is what you're sharing with us. And then you are here enduring whatever it is that they already surpassed. And so there's this roller coaster, and there's time differences and there's location differences, but we're all still going through the same thing at different times. And
Absolutely.
so I just wondered what that's been for you, having chosen to permanently be in New York, and while you're making music, and I know that's a wonderful way, and it's a wonderful outlet to just use as therapy for oneself. I just wonder what that must feel like for you to be all the way over here and then be over there.
Yeah. I mean, of course, psychologically it's really hard. I'm a human being. We're all, we love each other. I have a really good relationship with them, and I talk to them every day, every single day. We're a team on everything we do. We both got, we all have different goals and aspirations in life, and yeah, that's for sure really hard. On the other hand, I could have gone back. Honestly, I'm still an Italian citizen, so I was given the chance to go back to my country, knowing that if I did, I would be stuck there for at least the end of the pandemic. So I chose not to, because I wanna be here. I wanna be available to everything that could happen. And it's been a hard choice. My parents also, didn't support it at first, but then they understood it was the right choice for me. Again, it's really hard, but I don't mean to, be here and complain and
No, you're not complaining. It's important that we all share
absolutely
our individual experience, because we're all going through it in some form or another. And as a musician, I'm gonna, just based on what you're sharing, assume that because music is what you use as your outlet, it's a lot more, I guess, accessible for you to develop and create or just release, right? Because you just recently released a single. And we're also going to have the privilege of sharing that single here on our show. And I appreciate you just sharing so authentically, because
I meant to say,
like, this is what it is. It's real. And
it is.
SML, Show Me Love, I'm sure it was inspired by all of this too.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's a great way for, when we were all really stuck at home, we couldn't really go out we just couldn't go out for necessities. It was really a good time for all of us to look into ourselves and write new stuff, maybe express whatever art we do. Again, I was trying to say, we're all healthy. They're all healthy back there. I'm healthy here. So that's the most important thing. That's why I didn't mean to be really complaining about it. But still, it's been tough, just like for everybody else.
It's all good, and thank you for sharing that, everyone, as well.
Absolutely.
And healthy, because right now that's really what matters most. So thank you for sharing, and thank you for being just true in your words and your expressions, and I'm looking forward to hearing it in the song form. And you guys, you got to stay tuned, because we're going to take a quick break, but when we return, Alessandro is going to perform his new single, SML. So don't go anywhere. welcome back. It's now time for this week's Open Artist Spotlight. Here now to perform his new single, SML. Let's give it up for Alessandro.
I've been wasting time, stressing all day and night, girl, 'cause you seem to be so far away. You got me tripping out, thinking about myself now. Girl, I had some doubts, am I right, am I wrong? So what are we gonna do? Let's figure this thing out. 'Cause girl, you're running out of time. And don't try to say it's me, 'cause girl, you know it's you. Don't you start messing with my mind. Show me love. Show me some love. Just show me love. Show me. Oh, show me love. Give me girl, give me that loving. And show me I'm the one for you. I've been loving you for too long, I know, girl. All my friends are saying that she don't deserve you. I won't listen to them, I know you've been missing all the sunsets I saw without you. So what are we gonna do? Let's figure this thing out. 'Cause girl, you're running out of time. And don't try to say it's me, 'cause girl, you know it's you. Don't you start messing with my mind. Show me love. Show me some love. Just show me love. Show me. Oh, show me love. Give me, girl, give me that loving. And show me I'm the one for you. You're messing with my mind. Won't you stop messing with my mind? Show me some love. Just show me love. Show me. Oh, show me love. Give me, girl, give me that loving. And show me I'm the one. Show me love. Show me some love. Just show me love. Show me some more. Show me love. Give me, girl, give me that loving. And then show me I'm the one for you.
And there you have it. Show me love, SML. Once again, you can find Alessandro's music on all digital platforms, and you can follow him on Instagram at Alessandro It's Me. That is our show today, mi gente. Thanks to all our guests for coming through, and to you, our viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of the show, you can check out the recablecast tonight and 24 hours a day at BronxNet.tv. I'm Rhina Valentin, and from all of us here at Open, may the universe provide us prosperity y amor. Don't forget to wear your mask.